You know, so I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I had all.
So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
50 Cent just can't let French Montana breathe. Every time French's name pops up in the blogs, 50 got a fresh troll locked and loaded. It's like clockwork. But this time, his latest jab cracked open something way deeper than just industry shade. It's got people whispering that French might not just be dodging drama, he might be running into something even more dangerous. So here's the twist. Headlines are screaming that French Montana is engaged to a Dubai princess worth a wild $18 billion. On paper, it sounds like a fairy tale. French goes from Bronx hustler to royal level baller. But when you scratch past that gold surface, the shine starts to look a little too perfect. Word around the industry is that this whole royal engagement might be less about romance and more about escape. With Diddy still caught up in heavy federal investigations and the feds sniffing around anyone tied to those infamous bad boy parties, French might have decided it was time for a plan B. And what better hiding spot than Dubai, where the money's long, the laws are tight, and the rich live untouched. But hold up, it ain't all golden sands and Lamborghinis out there. Those who really know Dubai's nightlife and power circles will tell you behind the glitz there's a dark side. Some of those royals have been whispered about for years, accused of having tastes so wild they make Hollywood scandals look like kids' cartoons. Stories about princes collecting pretty boys and Western celebs being flown out for things way too dirty to print didn't just pop up yesterday. So when people see French, a man known for chasing the biggest bags, living fast, and getting close to powerful people, suddenly linking up with a princess worth billions, let's just say not everyone's buying the love story headline. Something about this whole royal romance just feels way too convenient. Man, this so-called safety net of French's is looking a little too perfectly calculated. The math is mathing way too conveniently. It's not that people don't think he could actually love this princess, it's that most believe survival might be his real motive. And that's exactly where 50 Shade cuts deep. When he said French got bought, it hit different. Because it wasn't just about that giant engagement ring. It was about the idea that French might have just swapped one boss for another. Think about it, he ran from Diddy's mess only to end up in another world ruled by men with even more money and zero accountability. The irony burns. French thought Dubai was his safe zone, but if even half those stories about certain princes are true, then he didn't escape the fire. He just jumped straight into a hotter stove. And let's be real, this ain't like dodging the feds. The feds move on eventually, maybe even cut deals. But royalty in Dubai? They play for keeps. That's why this so-called $7 billion escape plan looks less like freedom and more like another golden cage. Yeah, he might have bought himself a little time, but the price tag on that freedom might be heavier than anyone realizes. Now hold up, before we go any further, we gotta rewind. Because you can't really understand why French bolted to Dubai without knowing how he got wrapped up in bad boys world in the first place. See, French didn't just pop off with pop that and suddenly get a deal. Oh no, the behind-the-scenes tea on how he landed that bad boy contract always smelled a little funny. And now, with everything that's come out about Diddy in the past couple years, fans are side-eyeing that whole story all over again. Back then, French wasn't just some random mixtape rapper, he was already making serious noise in the streets. French wasn't some desperate artist begging for a deal, he had real options. Roc Nation was circling him heavy, Rick Ross and MMG showed real interest, and even Kanye's camp was flirting with the idea of signing him.
Collar comes out, like we said, and now you have real deals on the table. And out of all those, you go with Diddy.
That's not how it really went.
Was it Diddy, was it Bad Boy MMG?
Yeah, I went to go see Ross. And Ross was like, I got an opportunity for you. I don't have the money for you, but I got the opportunity. I guess because the same thing Meek did, the same thing Wale did. I guess whatever, the way the situation, his label was, he wasn't trying to give me the money I wanted. And I wanted like a whole bunch of money. But he was like, look, let's do it like this. Let's call Puff. And let's get him to give you the bag. You can still be MMG / you know what I'm saying? Bad Boy, Coke Boys, yep.
Right. How much money did you get?
$2 million.
So with all those doors open, why would a man like French choose Bad Boy? A label known less for music magic and more for bad contracts, shady deals, and those extracurricular expectations that had nothing to do with studio time? Because let's be real, Bad boy wasn't just a label, it was a whole lifestyle. For some people in that circle, the parties, the power, and the proximity to Diddy were the real rewards. The whispers said Diddy didn't just hand French a check, he handed him access to the wildest parties, the most exclusive women, and those so-called freak-offs everyone keeps whispering about. The type of situations where, if you played nice, doors magically opened. Fans been side-eyeing ever since, and honestly, can you blame them? French himself admitted he took less money up front than what Jay or Ross were offering. He could have signed for bigger checks, but he chose Puff anyway. Then came those viral clips from 2016 to 2019. French stumbling out of those infamous villas, looking drained and dazed, right after one of Puff's weekend celebrations. The internet caught it all, and people didn't forget. After Diddy's arrest in 2024, that old footage hit different. Suddenly, producers and former insiders started spilling tea about what really went down behind closed doors, and the kind of participation it took to keep those deals flowing. One producer even claimed Diddy blackballed him after refusing to join one of those parties. So of course, people looked back at French's fast rise and said, "Oh, so that's how you stayed on the inside." No one's pulled a solid receipt with French's name on it yet, but let's be real. The circumstantial tea is piping hot and it's spilling everywhere. You had Diddy gifting French his own Ciroc flavor, French vanilla, literally the day after the two were allegedly partying all night together. Then came that viral birthday clip, Diddy in a robe, French shirtless, both of them looking way too cozy. Fans were quick to say, something about this don't look like business. And when French himself bragged about wanting the big bag, and Puff being the only one willing to hand it to him, yeah, people started connecting dots real quick. To the industry, it looked like a regular label signing. But to the streets, it looked like a man paying a personal price for that career glow-up. And that's exactly why folks think he's pulling the same play again in Dubai. Once you show the world you'll trade dignity for opportunity, people assume you'll do it again, just with a bigger bag and a different boss. Now here's where the rabbit hole gets deep. Mid-2024, French pops up at Paris Fashion Week, not just flexing designer fits, but allegedly debuting a fiancé. And not just any woman, Chiara, a real-life princess tied to one of Dubai's ruling families. Baby, this ain't no regular Bronx love story. This is a straight-up power move. See, around that exact time, the feds were turning up the heat on Diddy. We're talking everything. Freak tapes, trafficking rumors, shady money moves, the whole nine. Anybody in Diddy's orbit was suddenly radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even random friends were getting subpoenaed or called in for questioning. And French, he wasn't just a casual homie, he was Diddy's shadow for years. The birthdays, the champagne collabs, the constant cosigns, his name was stamped all over that empire. So when prosecutors started piecing their case together, French's name was bound to come up. And what does he do? He doesn't just go low-key or relocate quietly. He levels up and ties himself to one of the most powerful families in the entire Middle East. That's not luck. That's strategy, and everyone watching knows it. Reports say the Shaka's family, the royal clan French allegedly linked up with, is worth over $18 billion. That's not rapper money, that's oil empire money. The kind of money that doesn't even flinch when you mention billions, and marrying into that, you don't just get luxury, you get protection, power, and a passport to a whole new world. You also get residency in a place that does not play when outsiders try to dig into their business. So when folks say French ain't in love, he's in survival mode, it's starting to sound real believable. People can't help but notice how fast that engagement came together, right when the heat back in the States was turning all the way up. Suddenly, French isn't chilling in New York or LA anymore. He's living it up in Dubai like he never left. To his fans, it looks like a romantic glow-up, but to his critics, it screams escape plan, just wrapped in Cartier and royal vows. And let's not ignore the optics. Every time French posts with his princess, he's looking sharper, cleaner, like he's been reborn.
Hi, guys.
But the comments? Oh, they stay messy. Boy, you traded Diddy for Dubai, some say, or even harsher, hope them sheiks don't treat you the way Puff did. The internet has no chill, and the shade is relentless. But here's the gag. French might think he's leveled up, but people who know how Middle Eastern royalty really flex their power say it loud. You don't always escape the fire. Sometimes you just walk into a bigger, hotter one. And here's the part French probably doesn't want to hear. Running from Uncle Sam to the UAE doesn't always equal freedom. It might just mean you signed up for a different kind of contract, one that comes with way more strings attached than any record deal ever could. See, Dubai loves to sell that image. Lambos cruising past skyscrapers, gold-plated brunches, and pet tigers chilling on yachts. But behind that shiny picture, the whispers have been ugly for years. Influencers fly out chasing that tax-free glam life, then sneak back spilling wild stories about palace parties where guests weren't treated like people. They were treated like props. Men and women, both allegedly, getting dragged into scenes they never signed up for. Some royals, it said, don't see outsiders as humans, they see them as playthings. Now picture French Montana standing next to Sheikh Amara's family and their $18 billion fortune. Compared to that, French ain't wealthy, he's ornamental. He's famous, yes, but not powerful. He's got no political pull, no royal backing, just a name that brings attention and flash. Sheikh Amara's lineage comes straight from one of the most powerful rulers in modern history. And French, he's just the shiny foreign piece added to their royal collection. People online are already calling it out, saying this don't look like escaping Diddy, it looks like upgrading to new handlers. Only difference? Bigger palaces instead of Miami freak-offs. Instead of champagne-fueled parties in LA, it's now private villas guarded by security with royal clearance. And that family French just tied himself to? Oh, they've already had their fair share of global drama. Remember Sheikh Amara's viral Insta-divorce in 2024? The entire world froze when she dumped her husband with just 3 words. I divorce you. That was straight up unheard of in royal circles. Bold? Definitely. But it also exposed just how messy royal life really gets. And let's not forget her relatives. Princess Latifah's failed escape attempt and Princess Shamsa's alleged abduction, both allegedly tied back to their own father, the ruler of Dubai himself.
Tell you what I actually learned. A friend of mine is an air hostess and her friend was on a flight with her and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2-minute noodle.
So now that's French's new father-in-law. Suddenly, this royal fairy tale don't look so golden. When power that heavy decides to turn on you, freedom isn't promised, it's borrowed. And that's why the internet's been calling this whole thing French's $7 billion escape plan. Because from the outside, it doesn't look like he ran towards safety. It looks like he just ran into a more dangerous kind of cage. Marry into wild, obscene wealth, lock down residency, and chill under a royal shield in case the feds ever come knocking. On paper, that's pure genius. But socially, baby, it's deja vu all over again. For years, people joked that French was Diddy's boy toy. The shirtless dinners, the late-night serenades, the Ciroc sponsorships that felt way too personal. And now, the gossip streets are saying he just leveled up, swapped one sugar daddy for an entire dynasty of potential ones. The irony bites hard. Hip-hop painted French as the gritty underdog, the Moroccan hustler with Bronx roots, the guy who made it from nothing. But Dubai royalty? They don't play like bad boy records. You don't outshine them, you don't embarrass them, and you definitely don't outlive your usefulness. If even half the whispers are true, French didn't break free from a velvet leash, he just traded it for a golden cage. So sure, maybe he dodged the heat back in the States, but in Dubai, he might be sitting right on top of the stove. And here's the real gag. In the middle of all this chaos, the loudest voice dragging French is 50 Cent.
Table, and I'm sure there were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down. I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi. And Gabi was managing. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
I dropped
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like.
But hold on. What if 50 ain't just clowning this time? What if underneath the jokes and memes, he's actually warning him? You know how 50 moves, he's got that big brother energy. He'll roast you publicly, but deep down he still wants you to win. He's been shading French for years, calling him washed, calling him Diddy's leftover, but maybe this time he's trying to say, yo, you don't even realize the trap you're walking into. A trap that doesn't come with chains, but smells like them velvet cages people whisper about in Dubai. But here's where it flips. What if this ain't a trap for French at all? We're out here saying, bro, you sold your soul for protection. But what if this is exactly what he wanted? Some people chase freedom, others chase comfort. Maybe French doesn't see himself as a prisoner in a palace, maybe he sees himself as the chosen one. Think about it. The Bronx kid who came up selling mixtapes in the streets, now living with gold-plated security, designer robes, and a driver waiting 24/7. We might call it a golden cage, but for him, it might just be heaven, with central air, private chefs, and 0 subpoenas. But here's where things take a darker twist, because if you've been paying attention, French's silence lately says everything. No interviews, no live rants, not even one shady tweet. That man went from posting bottles and models to posting sunsets and prayer hands. It's like he's trying to rebrand himself as this peaceful, enlightened global citizen. But people ain't buying it. They're saying that silence feels less like peace and more like fear. Behind the glam posts and designer shades, insiders are whispering that French's new royal connection might have come with a set of rules, and those rules aren't meant to be broken. Word is, every move he makes now has to be approved, every photo vetted, every caption polished. Even his old industry friends are allegedly struggling to reach him, saying he's not the same French anymore. And maybe he isn't, because when your freedom is bought and paid for, your voice usually is too. Meanwhile, back in the States, the Diddy investigation keeps unfolding like a never-ending crime saga. New names, new witnesses, new footage. Every week something fresh drops. And fans can't help but wonder, how long before French's name slips back into those headlines? You can't erase years of loyalty overnight, especially when prosecutors are still connecting dots. So while French is out there flexing royal life, people are watching closely, waiting for that one headline that says authorities seek questioning. And you know who's watching extra close? 50 Cent. He's back at it again, throwing shade like it's a national sport. But this time it's sharper, more pointed. When you play with kings, he posted, don't forget some of them own the board. Fans went wild decoding that, thinking he's warning French that Dubai might not be the fairy tale he thinks it is. Because if those royals ever feel played or embarrassed, it won't just be his career that ends, it'll be him. Now, the streets are split right down the middle. Some say French finessed the ultimate come-up, outsmarted the system, married into power, and secured generational wealth. Others say he sold himself for safety, trading danger for dominance but losing every bit of independence in the process. Either way, this ain't just a love story, it's a cautionary tale dressed in diamonds and designer threads. Because at the end of the day, when you run from one empire straight into another, you don't get freedom, you just get a new kind of leash. And whether French knows it or not, the price of peace and paradise might be the one thing money or royalty can't really buy, control over your own life, and that's exactly why 50's shots hit so hard. Because deep down, they're dipped in truth. 50 built his entire legacy on power moves, owning his name, flipping street hustle into boardroom dominance, and proving you can be feared and respected without bowing to anyone. Meanwhile, French, he might have flipped survival into servitude. Yeah, he's secure now, but at what cost? That's the question everyone's asking. Who's really winning here? The man still out in the open, fighting for credibility in rap and standing on his own 2 feet? Or the man hiding behind palace walls, sipping imported tea, scandal-proof and wrapped in $7 billion worth of royal protection? It's wild, it's messy, it's ironic, and it's the perfect reflection of the paradox French Montana lives in right now. To the world, he looks like property, another famous face absorbed by power. But to him, he might feel like royalty, finally untouchable, finally free in his own twisted version of peace. And maybe that's the biggest twist of them all. 50 might be out here dragging him for filth, clowning him every chance he gets. But French Montana? He might just be sitting back, grinning, thinking that this was the plan all along. So before you bounce, hit that like button if you're rocking with us, subscribe if you're a real one, and don't forget to tap that notification bell so you never miss the next messy drop. Trust me, you're gonna want to catch what's coming next.